So I'm going to be working on the Bernina 880, and it has some niceties of for working with something like twin needles and fancy feet. So on the top of the 880, you can see there's a teeny little metal piece just in front of my finger there. That's a tension guide. So I'm going to start my tension. I'm going to bring that in from the back. So I know that that thread is going to be on the back side. So the next thread is going to lay in the front of that little tensioner. So I've got a straight stitch selected. On the screen you can see that there's two stitch outs. That's because in the needle minder I've already told it that I have a twin needle, and the one I've put in this machine is a 3.0. So the sizes that are currently available are 1, 1.6, 2, 2.5, 3, 4, 6, and 8.
So that 8mm one, you couldn't even put it in a brother. It would be too wide.
Yeah, no, it would just go snap, snap.
Yeah.
Even with a straight stitch. So by letting the machine know what I'm doing, it protects itself. But when you still have to push the button that says you're going to thread it. Or if you're doing other fancy things that you have to thread by hand, you can push this icon and it will know that you want to thread by hand. This one already does because I've told it I have a twin needle. So it does all the other tensioner. Everything is properly aligned in here, and then we go. All right, so the left one, I am going to thread perhaps. So hand thread. Now at this juncture up here, that's another spot you can keep them separate. So one behind and one in front.
Do you do it in?
I leave it out. Yeah,
Okay.
I leave it out.
Sure.
All right, so, and you can one stitch down, bring the bobbin thread up. I'm going to give it a little slack. Now, one of the big things about stuff like that is patience. You got to grab some patience. So, as we said, a couple stitches by hand, and what you'll know is if it's working. Because typically you'll hear a little grind, or you'll feel them grab each other and they're not playing nice.
And fabric will tug to the side.
Yeah, it does. You could see it, hear it, and feel it. So I've got a nice straight stitch happening. The nice thing with the screens that we have here, I can go up and put that zigzag on and have a stitch like Leah did, but I can see it. I can preview it and go, oh, that's lovely, or I don't like it. Or if you do something like that, you get an entirely different stitch. It's sort of a two diamond honeycomb, but now it looks like a 4. Let's go up into some of the other stitches that kind of look cool. Oh, no, the ones I like are in there. Like the turkey tracks, double turkey tracks. Again, start out slowly, do a test. If you've been in any of my classes in the last while, the saying is there's those who test and those who wish they had. So we got a kind of really cool double stitch happening there. Doesn't look at all like the turkey tracks all by itself.
That's funky.
Okay, the one thing I'm going to show you, I'm going to go back to the straight stitch. I'm going to show you how to turn a corner. So we'll make it just a straight line, and then say I want to do a 90-degree turn. So again, we're going to turn the hand wheel, and we're just going to have the tips of the needle in. We're going to turn about 45 degrees, and we're going to take a stitch. Then we're going to turn another, oops, sorry, just the tips caught in there. And then another 45, to complete a 90. You don't want to do an entire 90 all in one go. There we go. Got a reasonable point for 2 needles that wouldn't necessarily like. Cool. Double stitch. Anything that's not too busy, I would avoid heavy satin stitches.
They'll just jam.
Yeah, so Leah picked a purple and an orange for her little zigzag, and it's really pretty together. Not sure if the camera picks up how nicely they play off each other, but they do. What do you guys think of that? Not bad for Friday afternoon. If you have any questions, love to hear them. Comments, love to have them. But there's some really interesting things that can be done with a twin needle. Leah did a knit hem for us. So if you're making a t-shirt and you want to have a hem that looks like something that came from one of the garment manufacturers, you could twin needle it.
Yeah.
If you own a cover stitch machine, you could do that. But a cover stitch machine is lovely to have, but costs a little more than a twin needle.
True. I like having a cover stitch.
Yeah, I mean, if you have one, you have use for it. If you like to make knits, it's your best friend. But, you know, a lot of people they own a t-shirt and the hem falls out. Needs a little repair.
I shortened sleeves. My kid wears all the elbows out in his sleeves, so I hacked all his long sleeves into short sleeves recently.
Right? Then the shirt lasts that much longer.
Way longer. They don't reach his pants, but
Kids
that's
are
a different
expensive.
problem. That's a different problem, that the shorts don't reach his pants.
Right. So, things to remember about the twin needle. The size. If you don't have a twin needle minder on your machine, you have to know how wide your machine zigzags. Now, some people don't know that. And so what I tell them to do is to put their zigzag, select zigzag on their machine, and then turn the dial till you get to the number. Common size is 5.5, 7, and 9 millimeter machines.
Yeah.
Chances are yours is one of those 3, but if you don't remember or aren't positive about what's what on your machine, just go into your zigzag and make the widest zigzag you can, and that'll tell you the widest you can go. So the threading, keep them as far apart from each other as possible while you're doing it. What happens often is if you don't do that, they twist around each other and then they squabble, and then you'll get that little knot. If that happens, just deep breath, relax, patience, cut the thread at the spool, pull it out, go again. And I love the way that twin needle looks for decorative things, and so hopefully whatever machine brand that you have, one of these threading for tension makes you go, I could try that. If you don't want to use a stabilizer, you have to stiffen your fabric, and there's product on the market like Material Magic, Mary Ellen's Best Press. I would recommend, if you want the fabric to be super soft and supple after you've decorated it with the great twin needle stitching, is that if you started with the Badge Master, which is a water-soluble stabilizer, a little heavier, it provides some stability for the stitches to form on, so it doesn't do the tunneling and the puckering, but it washes completely out when you're done. Or you can use a tearaway. Just don't get too excited about removing every last speck of it. It will come out on its own with washing and use, but sometimes you'll destroy your stitches taking that out. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm signing them off.
Bye, guys.
Say goodbye.